Hi, and welcome to a fairly standard The Division review. I'm
touching myself tonight.
coming into The Division. A lot of people were concerned with what The Division was going to be. Was it going to be a tactical cover shooter? Was it going to be a kind of Destiny type clone with RPG elements, MMO elements, and whatnot? What was it going to be? Well, first of all, it's kind of its own thing, and it's not. It's pretty much a third-person tactical cover-based shooter, and that's a good thing. But the problem is, by making it more of like an MMO, it is kind of, the story kind of is hurt by this. Now, there are good things and there are bad things. One of the good things is the graphics are amazing. There's almost no loading screens. Obviously, if you die, there'll be loading screens. But other than that, pretty much you can walk anywhere you want in New York and no loading screens. A few of them are actually hidden, which is good from like when you go into the main base of operations. That's loading. You're pretty much walking through the loading screen as you get into the base. The shooting feels good. All the guns have a good feel to them and a different feel. Like the shotguns obviously feel different than the pistols, and the shotguns also feel different from the assault rifles and the light machine guns and the sawed-off shotguns. Everything has a good feel to them, and they all feel different and distinct. Also, the grind to level 30 isn't a waste. I mean, it is a grind, obviously, to get to 30, but on the way to 30, it doesn't feel like an annoying grind. It is sometimes frustrating, but that's more of if you jumped into a mission too quickly and you're not at the right level, you're obviously going to get your ass handed to you. But the grind is actually very good to level 30. After level 30, it kind of becomes a little bit of a pain, because once you hit 30, you're trying for high-end weapons, and the only way to really get those is to hope you're really lucky in the Dark Zone and doing the daily missions, which I have yet to get one through the daily missions, only because through the daily missions you get Phoenix credits, and with the Phoenix credits you obviously buy blueprints, or you can also buy high-end weapons using your credits. But the problem with that is the high-end weapons cost a shit ton, so there's the problem there. It can be played solo or co-op. I think the preferable way is with friends. I played almost every mission with friends. Main mission, obviously some of the side missions with friends, but I mostly did the side missions by myself, and then did the story missions with friends, which is pretty much the best way to do them, because obviously, you have you, and then you've got someone else to help you along. Obviously the AI and the difficulty ramp up when you have more people playing with you, which is good. It's altogether a more fun experience, because then it's more tactical. You can flank, and it just becomes it's not as annoying when you come up against an armored boss, because then it just feels like it's just you kind of shooting into a bullet sponge. It's you and your teammate, so it's like, you start shooting at them, and then you got to reload, so then they start shooting, and it kind of pulls them from side to side. And it's a lot more tactical and fun with friends playing the story missions, which are also the best part of the single-player experience, because they add the most variety and the most setting changes. Obviously, it's all set in New York, but like, there's a police station level, there's a police academy level, there's one at Grand Central Station, there's one at the UN Assembly. Just a bunch of really interesting places to play, and it also adds a lot of verticality as well. There's like ones on rooftops where you have to get into a higher cover position, lower position. It offers a lot of tactical objectives and spots for you to, if you have a sniper in your team, he can be up top sniping. You got a, machine gunner down low, and all these things that really help make this a lot more fun and a lot more varied as you go along. As it starts to, as the grind starts to feel a little bit, but still isn't too annoying until you get to after level 30. AI can occasionally be stupid, but most of the time the AI is fine. Never amazing. Like, they do occasionally try to be tactical against you. Like, they'll flank you. Obviously, they're not that dumb, but there are moments when their stupidity is pretty bad. Where, say, you and a friend are playing, or just you by yourself, and you're going against like maybe 5 or 6 guys, and they all just kind of rush you at the same time. I understand it's a video game, and some certain enemies can kind of be bullet sponges when they have extra armor. But again, if this AI is smart, you're not just going to rush somebody in like a real world situation. You're not just going to run up to them and kind of be like, I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to shoot you, get hit. Okay, you're shooting me, but I'm still not flinching. So there's little problems like that, but nothing too major. The only major times you'll really kind of get annoyed with that is when you're playing against the bosses and you're putting a shit ton of bullets into them. They are bullet sponges, but that's okay. Because they should be. They're the boss, pretty much, the armored boss. The only problem with that is when you're putting bullet after bullet after bullet after bullet after bullet into them, and they just will not like even flinch. They just kind of keep coming, and it's almost like, well, how do I make this guy stop? I need to reload. I need to get away. What will actually stop him? And that kind of becomes a little frustrating. But that's yet again, if you're playing with multiple people, that's where that can kind of be, I guess, lessened, because if you get your buddy to start shooting at him, draw him over there so then you can get away and stuff like that. Especially with the cleaners who have the flamethrowers, a few of their bosses are kind of a pain because their flamethrowers have a long reach, so watch out for that.
Hostiles approaching. Alert. Hostiles approaching.
Getting into the Dark Zone, there was... I only went in about 2 or 3 times before I got to level 30. I also obviously went in the beta, but then the beta was different from the actual game. But now it's obviously been patched and it's been changed and been pulled back a little bit. But going rogue now isn't as bad, but it's still, obviously, it's a big chance. Because if you die, you lose a lot of experience. I think you lose, 2 or 3 levels depending on where you are. And depending on how long you've been rogue. Like me and my friend were playing and we went rogue. I think we were rogue for a few minutes and then we got killed and we lost about 2 or 3 levels, which is annoying, yes, but yet again, it's kind of, it's going to happen, so be careful when you go rogue. But other than that, it is very hectic, which is a good thing. You're always kind of in that Mexican standoff mode where you see another player, you're both kind of aiming at each other and you're like not sure what's going on, and then it's like, okay, we got actual NPCs, let's take care of them and then we'll get back to, if we're going to kill each other or not. But most of the time, if you don't even have loot, there's no point to even try and go rogue, or because you're not really going to get anything out of it. So if you come across anyone without any contaminated items on you, they're probably not going to try and kill you. If you do, that's when you got to be afraid. A lot of the gadgets you're going to be using are fun to use. Like, you have the mounted turret.
Take this guy out! Take the group out!
And then you have, which is actually my personal favorite. I love just having that, throwing it out, because especially if you're playing by yourself, that can be used as almost like, your second person, or a helpful, You throw that out there if you're almost dead, and then they'll start to focus on that, and then you can get out of there, heal up, and then, you know, move on from there. There's that. There's the little little bomb. I can't remember the actual name, but there's a little bomb that you a rolling bomb. I can't remember the title, but you'll if you've seen any gameplay, or I'll show it, you'll see. Also the healing pack, which you can throw to your, you can, you know, drop it for you. You can throw it to your teammates. It'll heal you up as long as you stay in that area. And if it helps, especially when you're in single player and you're gonna get downed a lot, you can also self revive. So if you're, you know, in your crawling state where you're dying and you stay in that zone, eventually you can heal up and you'll be fine. A shield you can run around with. I've actually been using this a lot more lately, and especially in the dark zone, because I finally got a sawed-off shotgun instead of a pistol, so I've been using that a lot. And one of the upgrades for the shield is actually that you have faster reloads, more damage given, and more protection. So I've been using that, so it's almost like pop, pop, quick reload, and it takes like a second, and then pop, pop, back again. So it's a quick way to get high amounts of damage and use protection. But the problem with that is, you're going to get a lot of shots at you, and if you're not careful, that shield will be gone within seconds. So you got to really think tactically for that. Otherwise, oh, I'm going to go out there and this is going to be great. They're not going to get through my shield. 2 seconds later, they're through your shield, and you're like, well, that was a waste. Another gadget you have is the ability to make up your own cover. Like if you're in a wide open space and you're getting shot at, you have the ability to, you know, pop a shield or pop cover out of nowhere, and that's good. I don't really use that one that much. I guess I've never really used it because I'm more snipe, so I like to stay back and watch over. And if I have to move up, I'll just use the regular cover. But I'll usually start sniping first, and so I'll thin him out, and then if I get up close, I'll just use my shotgun. But you know, it's fun to use. I've used it on occasion. I use it more when I'm actually in the dark zone, and I know we're going to be using it, trying to get out through an extraction. So I'll pop that just in case around where we're actually trying to extract, and then, you know, extract. Other reviewers, I'm not going to bash anybody, but it's not my intention here, but other people have said that have reviewed the game have said that there aren't that many NPCs in, you know, in the open world. I agree with that, and I disagree with that, for the simple fact that in certain areas later on, like when you finally encounter the Last Man Battalion, there are a lot more NPCs, like, of those guys, and the cleaners. And eventually I started seeing them fighting each other a lot too. But when that happens mainly more on the right side of the map. On the left side of the map, there's not as much until you get to the higher up section on the map. From about the midpoint and down, there's not as much NPCs as you would think. But there's still quite a few you'll run into, but not as many as the top part of the left side and the entire right side, which has a lot, which is good. So it's obviously tailored to, you know, the left side is for your leveling up, and once you get to the top, that's, you know, you should be leveled up pretty far, and then once you get to the bottom and the right side, you should be leveled up enough that you're going to want to keep having these guys attack you and, you know, get, you know, doing your grind, getting these kills and leveling up. So, and plus, when you're first going through the main missions, it's actually, as you're going through the main missions, you really should be doing the side missions on your way. because that's the easiest way and the quickest way to get through them all. Because if you wait, it's the fastest way to level up. You know, you're on your way. Oh, grab that one. Boom, that one's done. Okay, leveled up. Grab that one. Ooh, almost halfway there to the next one. Okay, let's go. So I think if you do it that way, it's a lot of fun and it doesn't seem very empty. But the world is it's quite beautiful actually, and it's really nice to look at. But it can after a little while be a little like, all right, well I've seen this already. Let me just fast travel. I don't want to walk there. Especially when you get to 30, eventually it just becomes, all right, let me fast travel there, do that, finish that, good, fast travel back, but that's fine, that's okay. One of the things I haven't really gone over yet was the story, and that's because it's good but bad. In essence, there's been a viral outbreak in New York, in Manhattan, and you're a division agent and you've been activated. You're like a sleeper cell kind of agent kind of thing, and you've been activated to go and kind of reclaim Manhattan, you know, reclaim it from the gangs that are tearing it up, like the Cleaners and the Last Man Battalion. And that's it. It pretty much starts off with a big cutscene that tells you what you have to do.
An entire American city was
Known as the Green Poison, Central Park has been converted to a mass burial ground.
Power outages, gas line leaks, fires. The government's
We're expecting another night of widespread looting.
People of New York are begging for
Any available units. Fire and house in the
our first responders are either dead
no resources available.
or treated like animals.
It's not our job. We're not trained for that.
When we were activated, we knew the situation was bad. Worse than anyone knew. We're an elite, highly skilled group of embedded agents. They only call us when everything else has failed. We have no rules. We have no limits. Our job is to protect what remains.
We are your co-workers. We are your neighbors. We might even be your friends.
But when we get the call,
We leave everything behind.
we are
The Division.
And then that's it. Most of the story is kind of bland. That's actually shown to you. You know, like the cutscenes are, oh, you meet the doctor, and then you meet the leader of the JTF, and then you meet the security guy who's a bit kooky, and it's just, the story missions are good. It's just that they're not, you pretty much are winning back the city by taking down 3 factions that are there, and that's it. And along the way, you know, you're trying to find a vaccine or make a vaccine for the virus, and that's pretty much it. You know, you'll get a few cutscenes here and there with one of the 3 that I just mentioned. You know, the doctor, the weird tech dude, and you know, the leader of the JTF, and that's pretty much it. Which is why it's both good and bad, because the story's fine. It's just, it doesn't really go anywhere. Like, it almost feels like a prologue. That was kind of bad and good, but one of the good things, if very minor, is the fact that, I guess it could be bad, is there's like 3 characters that are very interesting in this story, but they're all characters you don't really see ever. There's one guy named Keener, who you meet through a few of the echoes. You never actually meet him in person, but you meet him in a few of the echoes. And in all honesty, his story is actually probably the most interesting thing here, other than the story, the character of the guy who made the virus. Those are like the 2 most interesting characters, and we barely, you know, in story find out anything about them or, you know, learn anything about them, but they have some of the most interesting stuff that you find throughout the game through the echoes. Other point to that, non-memorable characters, Fei Lao's kind of boring. She doesn't really do anything. She says she wants to save her city, which reminded me of Arrow.
You have failed this city.
Virologist, the medic virologist lady that you have to save is kind of boring. The only thing I can remember is that she had a wife, which is cool, but she's kind of a boring character. Like if that was her one defining characteristic, is that she's a doctor and she has a wife. I mean, it was just kind of like you threw that in there, but she's not a memorable character. So it's like that's all I'm gonna remember is that she had a wife. That was what? That's one characteristic. Thank you for that. And then the JTF leader guy that you have to save. He's like, there was nothing memorable about him either, other than his voice. His voice was pretty cool.
Oh, look who it is.
Hey, it's the conquering hero.
Gotta say, I didn't think anybody could pull off what we asked you to do. Best part is you freed up my first responders to go where they could do the most good.
Not bad for feds, huh?
I've seen worse.
The other guy was weird. The tech guy, he's a normal weird guy who does tech with a beard and a hat, and he's just nothing very memorable about him. But yet again, the two characters we barely know anything about, Aaron Keener, or yeah, I think it was Aaron, and the guy who made the virus, we barely ever see out in story outside of echoes or whatnot. So I wish there was more with them, but I'm assuming there might be more later on. We might get some more backstory and whatnot, and see more of them in the future. I touched on it earlier. The certain enemies are a bit bullet spongy. As you go along, as you continue to upgrade and get new loot and get new guns, which is great, because it's immediate. It's not like Destiny where, you got an engram or whatever it is, and you got to go get it checked out by whatever the hell that guy's name was. You pretty much get it, boom, you can pop it in right there, switch out all the mods, now you got it. And that's especially good when you do get a gun that's better, and you don't have to just deconstruct it. Certain enemies, as you do level up, are bullet spongy, but the good thing is most of them will take at least 1 or 2 clips. Like as their level goes up, your level goes up, they'll take 1 or 2 clips. The only problem is certain bosses or certain characters end up taking about 10 or 11, which is the most annoying thing, because some of them aren't even bosses that take it. And it's annoying because you're like, oh my god, okay, I understand it's a game and this is fine, but come on, it shouldn't take this many freaking bullets just to freaking take down a freaking dude in like barely any armor, like on him physically.
Let's go down.
Copy. Hold the line, Sergeant. Alert. Intercepting radio transmission.
Titan, this is Viper 3.
I said the graphics were really good, and they are, but there's a little bit of a texture pop in and out. Like, after you fast travel, there's a bit. It takes about 30 seconds for it to get going. And after you die and get sent back to like a safe house, which I guess is like a fast travel in a way, counts in that same general direction, there'll be a lot of pop in of texture. So it's, it's not a big problem, but it is a little like, well, that looks interesting. Kind of a feel to it. Back to the Dark Zone real quick. I didn't say it yet, obviously, but I would not go in alone. I wouldn't recommend going in alone, because if you do have something you want to get out, it's gonna be a fucking pain to get it out. Because I tried that a couple times because I was playing with my one friend. We went in the Dark Zone and he kept getting disconnected, so I eventually had 9 slots, and I had gotten items in those 9, and I kept getting killed trying to extract because I was the only one there trying to extract, and I had all these NPCs coming out of nowhere trying to kill me, and eventually it took me about 5 tries, but I finally got out of there after this guy came along, helped me out. I was thankful for that. And just don't go in alone unless it's early on in the game and you're like maybe a level 6 or 7 or something. Go in then by yourself, but do not do it for very long. The character creator is a bit of a letdown. There's like 2 white faces, there's 2 black faces, and there's like 2 Asians, and they're both they're fine, but there's not that much to really change. I mean, they're it's kind of bland. I mean, there's supposed to be a lot of customizability, but it's very boring. I mean, there's like, you get like 4 different beards. There's like clean shaven, there's what I have, there's the fuller one where it's like, and then the mustache, and then that's it. Hairstyles, there's none of this. What I have right now, which is longer hair, none of that. There's just, you know, bald head, maybe a little fuzz on top, a little bit more hair, and then a little more, like the same for a little more hair, except it's pushed back. So it's like whoosh, and that's it. For the girls, it's even worse. Same, 2 white, 2 black, 2 Asian. But like the hairstyles are all like the dudes. There's like one hairstyle that fits a woman where they have the, you know, the little bun on the back, and then, you know, the black chicks have their poof, and like their, you know, I don't know what they're called, but I wish there was more customizability for the faces and the hair. Why not have a guy with longer hair? You know, dudes sometimes do have longer hair. These are people you're taking them from, you know, these are sleepers who are just in the world, and then, oh, we got activated. You're telling me none of these guys had long hair? Also with customizability, the clothing you earn in-game, like, you know, your hats or your shirts or your jackets and whatnot, they're all good when you start getting them, but after a while you notice that, like, it's almost meaningless in a way. Like, it looks cool, but eventually, like I wanted a windbreaker. Like, when I played the beta, I found I think it was a blue windbreaker, and it looked cooler than all the other jackets. So for me, I was like, you know what, no matter what else I get, I'm probably just gonna keep wearing this. And, you know, I found you get pants, shoes, shirt, jackets, all these things, hats. But my problem was eventually I found that I liked the jeans the best because they looked natural and real, and all the other pants just kind of looked meh. And I found this one shirt that I liked that I kept on. That was it. Didn't change that anymore. And I found my windbreaker. I found 2 of them. I found a gray, then a black, and then recently I actually found a blue that I had from the beta. So I was like, boom, there's my windbreaker. But the problem with that is, once you find the way you want to look, and you keep getting these things, there's almost no point in changing, because you just be like, it's just a different color. So boom, keep the one I have. Oh, the shoes, oh, they look stupid. Boom, keep the one I have. Oh, that's just a different color. Boom, keep the one I have. Oh, it's got a little bit of a red in there. Boom, keep the one I have. So it's almost meaningless, because there's nothing, like, after playing the beta, they said, oh, we're gonna have more customization options. We're gonna have more of this and then more of that. I was really hoping, and I guess they cost too much, but I was hoping that in a way they would have jerseys. Like, it's set in New York. Maybe they have the Rangers jerseys. Maybe they'll have copyrighted Islanders jerseys, Rangers jerseys, Flyers jerseys, because, you know, in that general area, they have Devils jerseys, even though I hate the Devils. You know, stuff like that. Hockey jerseys, basketball jerseys, real world stuff. Even if they couldn't get everybody, have certain ones, like a rare, you know, New York Knicks jersey, or, you know, stuff from the area. But again, no, you know, or like hats with, you know, New York, or hats with, you know, the Flyers symbol, the Rangers, the Islanders, any of those things, or the Knicks. But no, there was just, you know, plain old, oh, I got a hat, and it's got, ooh, it's a red one, and all that's really red is like that back part on the hat. So it was just kind of, it was like, yes, I got, oh, all right. Another bad thing, going back to the story, is the ending. There's obviously not really an ending, because it's going to keep going. They have stuff planned. But the ending to this prologue story was just kind of like That's it. Like, it just kind of happened, and you were like, oh, okay. That's the only way I can explain it, because I really don't know how to explain it, because it just kind of happens. And it's just... like, the final boss, this game does not have a final boss, quote-unquote. Like, it does and it doesn't. My point being, there's no memorable villain. Like, it's just, like, all you can really say is, like, there's the cleaners, there's the normal riders, and then there's the last man battalion. That's it. There's no, like, oh, there was this character, you know, like how in Witcher there was the Wild Hunt, okay? And then you got that dude, I can't remember his name right now, but the main bad guy with the hat thing that looked like the guy from Lord of the Rings. And, you know, and then you had the other guy with the staff. I can't remember their names right now, but I'm just throwing it out there because, you know, you get what I mean, you remember visually. There was no memorable villain in this story. And that, along with memorable characters other than the two I mentioned. So it was almost... It was like, oh, okay, cool, we're done. Gotta push to level 30 some more. Which is still fun. Yet again, as I said before, the push to 30 is great. It's what happens after that, so, which is a kind of drag, but because you're just trying to get high-end stuff, and it's like, you know, you kind of play other games and you come back. Or you finish all the side missions, which I did. But other than that, I really enjoyed this game. This is actually a great game. It's just, there's so much kind of missing. Like, the story, as I said, the story is pretty much a prologue. And you're just trying to get, you know, take back the city, get control of it again by, you know, whittling down the riders, the last man battalion, the Rikers. That's pretty much it. You're just, you know, trying to get it back. And I really hope there's more story-ish type stuff planned, because I'd really like to see more of that, because I think it's untapped, really. But the shooting is a lot of fun. Everything about this game is fun. It's just if you're looking for the story, you're going to be a little bit sad about that, because there's not really a story here, or at least one that means something. It's more like a prelude to something bigger, which I hope is what they're doing. I do not like giving scores. If I had to give it a score, I'd give it, I guess, an 8, maybe a 7, 7.5, and 8, somewhere in the 7 to 8 range. But that's just me. I like third-person shooters better than first-person, so I lean more towards these games when I pick them. And the story, at least in previews and whatnot, seemed to be interesting, and it was, but a little lackluster. 7, or an 8, somewhere in that general area. I think, to put it another way, I think if you like third-person tactical shooters, buy this game. Buy it right away. You'll love it, especially if you have friends that'll play with you every step of the way. Other than that, if you don't, I say rent it. See if you like it. I would not say don't get it, but I would say rent it. Rent it is the best option for you, yet again, unless you like third-person cover-based tactical shooters. So, I guess that's all I have to say on that. See you on Quantum Break.